Andrew Luck makes his NFL debut on Sunday as he leads the Indianapolis Colts into Chicago to face the Bears. As you probably know, Luck was the #1 overall pick in April's NFL draft. Many consider him the best quarterback prospect to come in the league in 20 years. Now, he will have his hands full on Sunday. Bears currently installed as a 9.5-point favorite in this game on BETDAQ, 43.5 the total. And look, I certainly understand why Chicago is a large favorite in this game. Remember, the Indianapolis Colts were absolutely terrible last year. 2-14, the worst team in the league. That's how they got in position to draft Andrew Luck, and it necessitated not only a new quarterback but a coaching change. Jim Caldwell out as Indianapolis coach. Chuck Pagano now in. Pagano brought over from the Baltimore Ravens, comes from a defensive background, and his primary objective will be fixing a defense that has been terrible really ever since anyone can remember. Remember, this Colts defense has been a liability even throughout the Manning glory years. They were winning in spite of this defense, not because of it. Now, Pagano's going to see that's no longer the case, but have patience, Colts fans. Do not expect turnaround here in year one. This is not going to be instantaneous. The Colts do not have the personnel right now to be a top half of the league type defense. And really, defense isn't the only place I have concerns about the Colts. Aside from Andrew Luck, what did they really do to improve their offense? When you look at the weapons that Luck has around him, Donald Brown, the running back, serviceable. Reggie Wayne's the #1 wide receiver who clearly passed his prime, clearly on the downside of his career, probably only has a year or two left before he retires. And other than Wayne, what do they have in terms of wide receivers? Austin Collie, their number two wide receiver, probably a slot wide receiver on a good team. You know, Andrew Luck is in a tough situation this year. I'll be very, very interested to see how he handles that throughout the year, beginning this Sunday. Because the defense he's playing this Sunday, while it wasn't great last year, particularly against the pass, this is a veteran defense with some proven players. 4 Pro Bowlers last year from this defense. Now, all 4 of those guys are age 31 or older, so this defense is getting up there in years. Brian Urlacher, the longtime captain, had surgery on his knee within the last month. He will play in this game, but he's been upfront that his knee is not 100%. Urlacher is no longer the player he used to be. And actually, the matchup I am most excited about watching in this game is that Colts passing offense against that Chicago secondary. Again, Chicago, one of the worst secondaries in the league last year. And Andrew Luck, even though he doesn't have a lot of weapons around him in terms of wide receiver, receiving threats, he looked pretty good in the preseason. I know this is his first game, but he might be able to do some things against this Bears secondary, and the Colts might be able to move the ball. Now, will the Colts be able to stop the Bears from moving the ball? That is where I have serious doubts. The Bears' offense should be excellent this year. They really improved themselves in the offseason, bringing in Brandon Marshall, a legitimate #1 wide receiver who was playing last with the Miami Dolphins. Marshall and quarterback Jay Cutler, of course, have history together. They played together in Denver once upon a time, had great success there. Cutler has not had a weapon like Brandon Marshall since he's been at Denver. This is a big deal for that Chicago offense. And hey, they also drafted wide receiver Alshon Jeffrey out of South Carolina. I expect Jeffrey to develop into a really good NFL wide receiver, and I expect him to take over as the starter opposite Marshall by midseason. I believe in the first game they're going to start Devin Hester opposite Marshall. Hester, of course, the outstanding kick returner, great speed, not a true wide receiver, not a great route runner. So I do expect Jeffrey to take over as the #2 wide receiver eventually this season. Now, it wasn't only receiver the Chicago Bears upgraded. They also signed running back Michael Bush from the Oakland Raiders. Bush will pair with Matt Forte in the backfield to give the Bears one of the best running back tandems now in the NFL. The sky is the limit for the Bears offense, and the offense is the main reason a lot of people are thinking the Bears might make some serious noise in the NFC this year, maybe challenge the Packers for supremacy in the NFC North. Now, I have my doubts about whether or not they'll be able to challenge the Packers, but I do really like Chicago in this game. As you probably know, or you may know if you saw my picks video put up on BETDAQ NFL yesterday, the Bears are one of my 4 picks this week. I do like Chicago -9.5 in this game. I expect them to get off to a good start here, relatively easy, stress-free win, a home win, sort of a feel-good win in front of the home crowd. I expect to see Chicago win this game by 14 to 20 points. I just don't feel like Indianapolis has enough around Andrew Luck to compete with Chicago, to really challenge that defense. And that Indianapolis defense, I do not feel like is going to be able to slow down the Chicago offense. However, don't lose hope, Colts fans. I am wrong from time to time, believe it or not. And this is week 1. Anything can happen week 1. We see it every year. We see big upsets every year in week 1. Week 1 is the toughest week to handicap in the NFL. You never know. Andrew Luck might come up there, throw it up and down the field, and the Colts might pull the big upset in Soldier Field. I'd be really surprised if that happened, but hey, stranger things have and probably will happen this weekend.